Section 8.5, graphing on a coordinate grid. Now, if you remember what a coordinate grid is, it's basically when you have two lines like this, and you have different sections or quadrants, they're called. This is quadrant number 1, this is quadrant number 2, this is quadrant number 3, and this is quadrant number 4. And it's basically like taking two separate lines, and on this side, it's going to be all positive numbers going this way. And on this side, it's going to be all negative numbers, okay? Kind of like a thermometer. And if you go up or down, this way up here is positive, and this way down here are negative numbers. So here's a typical looking coordinate grid right here. We call this axis right here, or this here line, the x-axis, and this one up here is the y-axis. If we were to go ahead and label these right here like this, this would be positive 1, positive 2, positive 3, and so on. Whereas if we go the other way, it would be negative 1, negative 2, and negative 3. Okay, like that. Going from side to side on the x-axis, we have positive 1, positive 2, positive 3, positive 4, and going the opposite way, it's negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. And of course, the very middle here is 0, or it's called the origin. So, whenever you're trying to describe where something is, a point, say, on this line right here, I'll put a dot there. Whenever you're trying to describe it, you're going to use a couple of ordered pairs. Okay, that's how you locate them, ordered pairs. So it's just basically a couple of brackets, and the first blank spot right here is where you tell how far you're going on the x-axis, or in other words, left and right. The second number always tells you how far you're going on the y-axis, or in other words, up and down. So if you're going, let me see, this point here, let's see where it's to. We start at the origin always, and we start jumping, and I'll do a different color. So we're going over on the x-axis in the positive direction. So that's 1, 2, 3 in the positive direction. So I'm not going to put plus in front of 3. We already know it's positive. Now how much are we going in the y direction? In other words, up or down? And we are going 1, 2, 3 in the positive direction for y. Now if we go in this direction, let's say I put a dot right here. Let's see where we're going on the x-axis. So that's negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6. So if I were to label this point, it would be negative 6 in the x-axis. So then let's see how far we're going up or down. So it'll be positive 1, positive 2, positive 3. So it'll be negative 6, positive 3. Whereas this one right here, as we proved here in the first part, oops, okay, as we already said, was 3, comma, 3. There we go. So that was this point right here. When we're going down, of course, the y number, or the y-axis, is going to be negative. So in this case here, I could put a point right there. And let's count starting from the origin again. So we're going across 1, or minus 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. So we're at negative 5. And then, of course, we're going down. So that's negative in the y-axis. So that would be negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. So in quadrant number 3, both of them are negative numbers. In quadrant 4, if I were to put a dot right here, and let's start counting from the origin again. Positive 1, positive 2, positive 3, positive 4, positive 5, positive 6, positive 7. So it's positive 7, and we're going down 1, which is in the negative direction for y. So it's negative 1. So in this quadrant, they're both positive. In this quadrant, they're both negative in quadrant number 3. In quadrant 4, one of them are negative, the y-axis. And in quadrant number 2, the x is a negative number. Okay? So you might see it written like when we're doing a 1 in class, you might see something written like this. I might say shift this dot right here 3 right and 1 down. So if I'm saying shift it 3 right and 1 down, I'm basically going 1, 2, 3 right and 1 down. Now, of course, you can't move it like that on your paper, but what you can do is simply go 1, 2, 3 right, which is towards the more positive side, and 1 down, and it's right there. And to write this coordinate, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positive, and then 1 positive, because you're going up 1. So you might be asked in order to graph the coordinates on the grid. So when you do graph the coordinates on the grid, make sure you recognize whether or not you're going in a positive direction on the x side, or you might be going in the negative direction. Also remember if you're going in the positive direction on the y-axis or the negative direction on the y-axis. So let's move on then to a couple of examples. So I will take this one. Perhaps we'll do 1. That should be enough. Okay. Now, I don't have any of my numbers put here, okay, but a lot of the times you will see the numbers put on your x and y axis. Let's go ahead and graph 4 points. First one I want you to graph is 5, 3. So let's go over 5, starting at the origin again, which, by the way, the origin, or this dot right here, that is always 0, 0. Okay? So if I told you to plot 2 over and none up, I'd simply go 1, 2 over and none up, so I don't move. Here's my point. If I said go none over and 2 up, I'd simply go none over and 1, 2 up, and there's my point there. So you got to pay very particular attention to where you're starting and how much you got to go up or down. So I want to plot my first point, 5, so positive 5 and positive 3. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the positive over, because the first number is your x-axis. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over, and 1, 2, 3 up. Done. My next point I'm going to plot is 5 and negative 3. So again, I will go 5 over, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and negative 3. So I'm going down 3. 1, 2, 3, and there is my point. My next number will be negative 5 and negative 3. And since I know they're both negative numbers, I know they're going to end up in this quadrant somewhere. So let's go over negative 5 in the x-axis. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, and then down negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. And there it is. Now the only thing I got left to do, I could ask a tricky question like only give you 3 points and say where would you have to put the next point to make it a rectangle? And if you were to make a rectangle here, where would you put it? Well, it would have to be exactly across from this guy and exactly across from this guy. So it would have to be right there to be the same distance apart from this one here. So let's put it there. And there we go. And let's just see what that point is. So let's check it out. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. So it's negative 5 over, and then positive 1, positive 2, positive 3, up. And there's our final point. Now you could join it all together, and of course, what shape do you end up with? A lovely looking rectangle. So some common shapes you might make, you might end up making a rectangle out of some of them. Sometimes you might end up making a trapezoid. You could end up with a triangle or a kite or something like that. Very simple shape.